Hey, how are you? And I'm like, I couldn't speak. I was just like speechless.
Nia Long was once gifted a private jet, and the reason why is honestly shocking. Nia has been an icon for the longest time, going all the way back to her role in John Singleton's movie, Boyz in the Hood. Basically, the entire world fell in love with her after just one movie. It was honestly really crazy. And she has actually said that she had absolutely no idea just how much everybody suddenly fell in love with her at the time. Her phone was constantly off the hook with guys calling to try and date her and people trying to work with her. Every man in Hollywood was desperate to get her attention, hoping they could be her man. At one point, she was woken up at 4 a.m. by somebody knocking at her door. It turns out that this guy arrived in a private jet booked in her name, but he didn't show up on a jet to say hi. He also brought her a box of diamond earrings, and it was all because he had seen her in this movie and just fell head over heels in love with her. That was the kind of thing that she was dealing with. It honestly sounds kind of intense, but supposedly, Nia didn't even understand why people were so obsessed with her. Her fame was just growing and growing, and she was just doing more movies and appearing in shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But it wasn't until she was pretty famous and well known that she really started to grasp what had happened. I can't even imagine how overwhelming that must have been for her to figure out, especially in the public eye and having all these famous men fall over themselves to date her. I mean, they were literally writing her name into rap songs. There are over 20 rap songs that mention Nia Long, and almost always they're about how gorgeous she is. So you would think, with all of this attention and fame, that she would find love, right? That it would somehow be easy for her to find the perfect guy and settle down and have a nice, happy life. But that could not be further from the truth. She's dated some seriously high-profile men, like Kevin Phillips, T.I., 50 Cent, but none of them really stuck around very long. I imagine it can't be easy for them to be dating someone that is so desirable to so many other guys. Jealousy and insecurity can definitely end up sabotaging an otherwise promising relationship. Of course, that's not exactly her fault, but she did eventually find love, and it was actually pretty cute, at least for a while. A mutual friend had introduced her to Ime Udoka, a basketball player turned coach, and set up a date for them. That first date was apparently so successful that they stayed up until 1 a.m. the next morning. After that, they were inseparable. But the best was yet to come for them. In 2011, Nia was pregnant, which she considered to be a miracle. A doctor had told her years earlier that she had very little hope of conceiving a child, let alone giving birth to one. So when their son was born and healthy, it seemed like Nia's life was going to be about as perfect as it could be. She had finally found the love of her life, and she was happy. She had a family, and it was beautiful. 4 years after their son's birth, she and Ime got engaged. But here's the thing, they never actually got married. We don't fully know why this happened, but there are a few theories out there about this. The first one is that both of them were just very, very busy. I mean, Nia has never really been out of work. Her role in Boyz in the Hood seriously made her an icon. And Ime, too, was a professional basketball coach, so there just wasn't a lot of time to actually make a wedding happen. But there was also something else going on under all of this, and you won't believe it when I tell you. Even though he had landed the woman everybody wanted, Ime still felt the need to cheat on Nia with a staff member of his team, which is an insane thing to do. This woman literally had some of the most handsome, eligible guys falling all over her. How could you fumble that so badly? And in such a humiliating way, too. The media was all over the story when it first came out, creating this narrative around it, which, to be fair, just made everyone angry. I mean, nobody ever really sides with the cheater, but in this case, Ime really got ripped apart on social media. Not only were women furious on her behalf, but a lot of men couldn't fathom the nerve that he had to cheat on Nia of all people. But there's one thing to know about Nia. She isn't a fool, and she was not about to just take this hit and let it happen again. Even though she loved Ime and the son that he gave her, she knew that she had been wronged and refused to work through it. She basically kicked him to the curb and decided to go off and live her best life. Thankfully, she saw that her emotional well-being and family were more important than any man who was willing to betray her that intimately. And even now, she is still one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. Her social media accounts show her living her best life, traveling around the world and having a good time. But her fans don't believe that she's single, or at least staying single. Some of her Instagram photos clearly show 2 drinks around her, as well as someone else taking the photos, which some people believe may well be her new man. Who is that man? We have no idea, and she'll never actually tell us until she's happy and ready to do so, as she should. But it gives us all hope that she will actually be able to settle down with a guy who isn't going to take her for granted or go and cheat on her. At least that's what I'm hoping for her. But what do you guys think? think. Was Nia deserving of all of this love? Do you think that Ime regrets the mistakes that he made? And do you think that she already has a new man in her life? Honestly, Nia has no shortage of guys waiting to shoot their shot, so I would not be surprised to find out that she's in love. I mean, she's as gorgeous now as she has ever been. All I really hope is that she'll be able to find someone who treats her better than these other guys have. After all, being cheated on sucks, but being cheated on publicly must be a whole other level of pain. So I hope that she can avoid that in the future and find someone reliable and loyal, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.